My mother told me I was just the help, but when I walked away, her world fell apart. I used to think loyalty was love, that if you gave enough, sacrificed enough, people would see you, appreciate you, love you back. But that's not how it works. Not in my family. I'm the oldest of three. James, 33, grew up in a small town where reputation mattered more than happiness. My mom, Lorraine, ruled our house like a queen with a perfect smile. My dad left when I was 12. Said he was tired of being invisible. I didn't understand what he meant back then. I do now. After he left, I became her stand-in. Not just as a man of the house, but as a servant, babysitter, grocery runner, silent therapist. I kept the peace, kept my head down, and kept the lights on. It started with little things. James, take your brother to school. James, fold the laundry. James, don't tell your sister what to wear. Just let her express herself. And it never stopped. By the time I was 16, I was working 2 part-time jobs after school. Everything I made went to the house. Mom said we all had to pitch in, that we were a team. Funny thing is, I never saw her lift a finger once Dad was gone. My brother Connor got a full ride to college. Mom threw a party so big it got covered in the local paper. My sister Megan had a meltdown over not getting into her dream art school. Mom took her to Italy for the summer to restore her spirit. I got a $200 gift card when I graduated and a speech about responsibility. You're the rock, James. The strong one. Not everyone gets that burden. Be proud. Burden. Yeah, that word stuck. At 22, I was still living at home, working full-time as a mechanic. Every night, I came home to a mess I didn't make. Dishes in the sink. Megan blasting music while painting in the living room. Connor dropping by to borrow tools from the garage and raid the fridge. And Mom. She'd be lounging with a glass of wine, watching reruns of Downton Abbey, like she was Lady freaking Grantham. I brought it up once. Just once. Why is it always me cleaning, cooking, paying? What about Megan? Or Connor? Why don't they help? Mom blinked slowly, like I'd just said something offensive. Then she smiled that cold smile. Because, James, you're the reliable one. You always have been. Megan's sensitive. Connor's ambitious. You're steady. You're good at being the glue. She made it sound like a compliment. It felt like a sentence. The real breaking point came last spring. I had finally saved enough for a down payment on a small house on the edge of town. Nothing fancy, but it was mine. I told Mom over dinner, expecting some kind of support, maybe even pride. Instead, she put her fork down, gently wiped her mouth, and said, "Well, I hope you don't expect me to clean up after your sister. She's still figuring things out. And someone needs to mow the lawn now that you're abandoning us." Abandoning. That was the word she used. Like I was leaving a battlefield. Like I owed her my life. I didn't yell. I didn't fight. I just stood up, walked out, and moved into my new place 2 weeks later. No housewarming party. No family visit. Just me, a couch, a mattress on the floor, and peace. It took exactly 11 days for the first call to come. It was Megan. "Hey, Mom said you might have some cash for my credit card bill. It's just temporary." I told her no, politely, for the first time in my life. 3 days later, Connor showed up at my shop. "Dude, you got any tools I can borrow? Mine got jacked." I told him no, firmly. He called me selfish and walked off. Then Mom called. Voicemail, of course. She never gave people the chance to say no to her face. "James, this is not how family behaves. I don't know what's gotten into you, but we don't turn our backs on each other. You're acting like a stranger." That word again. Stranger. It should have hurt. But it didn't. It felt like air in my lungs for the first time in years. But that was just the beginning. Because what I didn't know then was that the illusion of our perfect little family was about to crack wide open. And when it did, all the years I spent being the glue would finally make sense. The first crack came from the bank. I was sitting on my porch, sipping burnt coffee from a chipped mug, when my phone buzzed. Unknown number. Normally I'd ignore it, but something told me to answer. "Mr. Reeves? This is Angela from First Central. I'm calling about the co-signed loan you're attached to. There seems to be a discrepancy." "What loan?" I asked. There was a pause. "It was opened in 2019. A student loan for Megan Reeves. You're listed as the co-signer. Payments are 90 days overdue." My stomach dropped. I never co-signed anything for Megan. I would remember that. I asked for the documents. Angela emailed them while I was still on the line. I opened the PDF, and sure enough, there was my name. My signature. Except I didn't sign it. It was a scan of a signature from my old job application. Someone had copied it, pasted it onto a loan form, and submitted it electronically. Megan had forged my name. I hung up without a word and sat in silence for a long time. Long enough for the sun to shift behind the trees. Long enough for the anger to settle like a stone in my chest. That night, I drove to the old house. I hadn't been back since I left. The porch light was on, even though it was still daylight. I knocked. No answer. I knocked again. Eventually, Mom opened the door with that same practiced smile. "James, you should have called. We're just about to have dinner." "We need to talk," I said, pushing past her. I heard Megan's voice from the kitchen, cheerful, oblivious. "Hey, didn't know you were coming. Want some lasagna? You forged my signature." Her face went pale, then defensive. "It was years ago. I thought I could handle it. I didn't think you'd ever know." "That's not how this works," I said. "There are payments I'm now responsible for. You committed fraud." Mom stepped in like she always did. "Let's not be dramatic, James. It's just paperwork. We're family. We'll sort it out." "No," I said. "You'll sort it out. You and Megan. I'm not paying a cent. And if my credit takes a hit, I'll press charges." Mom gasped like I'd slapped her. "How dare you speak to us like that? We're your family. Your blood." I stared her down. Funny how that only matters when you need something. I left without eating, without saying goodbye. My hands shook the whole way home. 2 days later, Megan texted me. "I'm sorry. I messed up. Can we talk?" I didn't answer. I needed space. I needed clarity. But life doesn't wait for you to breathe. Because the next crack came from Connor. A week after the loan revelation, I got a visit at work. I was elbows deep in a Honda Civic when he walked into the garage. "We need to talk. Unless it's about a car, make an appointment. It's about Mom." That got my attention. I wiped my hands and followed him outside. He looked nervous, pale, not the cocky version of him I was used to. "I think she's been taking money from Grandma." "What?" "I went to visit her last weekend. She asked why Mom was withdrawing cash from her account every week." "Wait, what account?" "Her retirement. Mom has her login info. Says she's helping pay bills. But Grandma hasn't seen a single receipt. She thought you were managing her finances." I felt the blood drain from my face. I had set up online access for Grandma years ago when she asked for help managing her pension. But I had never used it. I thought Mom was handling it. Apparently, she was. Handling it straight into her own account. Connor looked at me like he wanted me to fix it. Like I always had. And something in me snapped. "No, I'm not cleaning this up. You want it fixed? You do it." He flinched. Like I'd struck him. "Come on, man. You always take care of this stuff." "Not anymore." I turned and walked back into the garage. My hands were shaking again. Not from anger this time. From grief. Because that's when it hit me. My whole family had built a life on my silence. They counted on me never saying no. Never speaking up. Never walking away. But now I had. And the truth was unraveling fast. What none of us knew then was that Grandma was already 2 steps ahead. And the next call I got would blow the lid clean off. The call came on a Thursday morning. I remember because it was my day off, and I was still in bed, trying to catch a few more hours of sleep when my phone buzzed. "James, it's your grandmother. Don't hang up." Her voice was steady, not panicked, just firm, like she'd already made up her mind about something. "I need you to come over. Now. Don't tell your mother." I sat up instantly. "Are you okay?" "I'm fine. Just come. Bring that laptop you helped me set up." 20 minutes later, I was at her place, the old ranch house on the edge of town. It still smelled like cinnamon and old books. She made tea without asking, sat me at the kitchen table, and slid a piece of paper toward me. It was a printout of her account statement. Month after month of $400, $600, $1,200 withdrawals, all labeled manual. She tapped her finger on the page. "This isn't what I agreed to. I asked your mother to help pay utilities and medication, not take out cash whenever she pleased." "How long has this been going on?" "Over a year, at least." I felt my jaw tighten. My mother had been bleeding her own mother dry, and nobody noticed. Because why would we? Grandma always played the quiet, sweet role. The family listener. The last person anyone expected to make waves. Why now? Why tell me? She looked me in the eye. Her voice didn't shake. "Because I know you won't lie to me. And because I'm done being polite." That hit me. She opened her laptop and handed it to me. "I want to transfer control of my accounts to you. Legally." And I want you to make sure your mother never gets another cent. I sat back. Grandma, this is huge. If I do this, there will be no going back. She smiled. Not cruelly, but with the kind of sad clarity that comes with age. Sweetheart, there's already no going back. We spent the next 2 hours filling out forms, updating passwords, locking down access. I called her bank, explained the situation. They asked if she wanted to file fraud charges. She looked at me and said, "Not yet. Let's give her one chance to come clean." We agreed not to tell Mom right away. Give her the rope, see if she hangs herself. And hang herself she did. 4 days later, I got a call from the bank's fraud department. There was an attempt to access the account. Password failed 3 times. Then someone tried to reset security questions using outdated info. It was Mom. I drove straight to the house. Not out of anger this time, but out of duty. She was in the kitchen, sipping from her favorite wine glass. 3 p.m. on a Monday. Not unusual. "We need to talk," I said. She looked up, unfazed. "If this is about Megan again, I told you. It's not about Megan. It's about Grandma." That got her attention. Her face tensed. "What about her?" "She knows." She set the glass down slowly. "Knows what exactly?" "That you've been siphoning money from her account. That you've been treating her like an ATM. She laughed. Actually laughed. "Is that what she told you?" "God, James, she's losing it. You know how old people get. Paranoid. Forgetful. She has records. Printed. Dated. Passwords. You tried to get in again yesterday." Her face went still. Cold. "So what now? You're going to be her little attack dog? Run the books and play family judge?" "I'm protecting her. And myself. You forged my name. Stole from Grandma. Who else have you used? Don't you dare talk to me like that. After everything I've done for this family." I stared at her. "What have you done, Mom? Really? Besides sit on a throne built from everyone else's labor. You used me. You used her. And now it's over." She tried to speak. I walked out. The silence in my car afterward was deafening. But for the first time in my life, I felt like I wasn't drowning in it. And I had no idea what would happen next. But neither did she. Because Grandma had one more card to play. And this time, it wasn't just about money. It was about truth. And the past. Grandma invited the whole family over that Sunday. Said it was for brunch. Said she wanted to reconnect. I knew better. So did she. Still, I showed up early to help set the table. She made her famous cinnamon rolls. Fresh orange juice. Eggs. Bacon. All the good stuff. It looked like a postcard version of what our family used to pretend to be. Megan arrived first, wearing sunglasses even though it was cloudy. She gave me a tight nod, then buried herself in her phone. Connor came next, with his trademark, "What's the big deal" energy. He grabbed a roll before even saying hello. Mom showed up last. Fashionably late. Lipstick perfect. Perfume like a wall. "Mother," she said, kissing Grandma on the cheek. "You look lovely." Grandma didn't smile. She just gestured to the table. "Sit. Eat. We need to talk." We all sat. The food sat untouched. The silence was thick. Then Grandma spoke. "I've changed my will." No one moved. Megan actually took off her sunglasses. "What?" Mom said. "You heard me. I changed it. James is now my medical and financial power of attorney. He controls all my accounts. And he is the sole executor of my estate." Mom blinked, like she hadn't processed it yet. That doesn't make any sense. James doesn't even live here." "Exactly," Grandma said. "He's the only one who doesn't treat this house like a vending machine." Connor leaned forward. "Wait, are you dying or something? Is this, like, a goodbye brunch?" "No, Connor. I'm not dying. I'm just finally done being manipulated." Megan looked at me, then at Grandma. "So, what, we get nothing now?" Grandma folded her hands. "You'll get what you earn. From now on, I'm not giving out money. I'm offering opportunities. If you want help with tuition or housing or anything else, you'll present a plan, a timeline, a reason, and James will approve it." Mom slammed her fork down. "You can't be serious. You're handing your life over to him? After everything I've done for you?" "Yes," Grandma said calmly. "After everything. You ungrateful old woman. I should have put you in a home years ago." And just like that, the mask dropped. Megan gasped. Connor looked away. I stayed quiet. Grandma sipped her tea. "You just proved why this is necessary." Mom stood up. "Come on, kids. We don't need this circus." Megan hesitated. Connor didn't move. Now, Mom barked. Connor stood slowly. Megan didn't. I think I want to stay, she said. Mom turned bright red. Fine. Sit there like a traitor. See if he pays your credit cards. She stormed out. Connor followed, muttering something under his breath. And then it was just me, Megan, and Grandma. Megan looked dazed. Did that really just happen? It did, Grandma said. We ate in silence for a few minutes. Then Megan looked at me. You know I screwed up, right? With the loan. I was scared. And stupid. And I thought you'd bail me out like always. Yeah, I said. I know. You really going to be in charge of all this? Looks like it. She nodded slowly, then said something I never expected. Good. Maybe it'll actually go to someone who gives a damn. And in that moment, I saw her. Not the bratty little sister. Not the screw-up. Just a girl trying to unlearn bad habits. I saw all of us, really. A family built on expectations. On silence. On the lie that love equals obedience. Grandma was right. There was no going back. But maybe, just maybe, we could finally start moving forward. And as much as I didn't want it, as much as I hadn't asked for it, it looked like I was going to lead the way. What none of us knew, though, was that Mom had one last trick up her sleeve. And she was already setting it in motion. It started with a knock on my door. Late evening. I'd just gotten off a double shift at the shop. My boots were still on, the TV playing something forgettable in the background. I wasn't expecting anyone. Then came the second knock. Louder. When I opened the door, a man in a blazer stood on my porch, holding a manila envelope. James Reeves. Yeah. He handed me the envelope. You've been served. I stared at it like it might catch fire in my hands. He turned and walked away without another word. I didn't open it right away. I just stood there, porch light buzzing, air thick. When I finally unfolded the documents, my chest went tight. It was a petition for guardianship, filed by my mother. She was attempting to have Grandma legally declared mentally unfit and herself instated as her guardian. I sank into the nearest chair. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. It wasn't just about money anymore. This was war. I called Grandma immediately. She already knew. Her lawyer had called her that morning. I'm fighting it, she said, voice calm. I've already filed a counter petition. My doctor will testify. My finances are clean. She's grasping at straws. But I wanted you to know, she's not going to stop. I paced the floor like a caged animal. This could drag out. It could get ugly. I know, she said. But I'm ready. Are you? I thought I was. I thought standing up once meant I wouldn't have to do it again. I was wrong. The court hearing was set for 2 weeks later. Those 2 weeks were hell. Mom launched a full campaign. She called every cousin, every aunt, every church friend, claiming Grandma was confused, paranoid, that I was manipulating her. Megan got a text from an old friend saying, Hey, heard your brother's trying to steal your grandma's estate. Connor called me, furious. I didn't sign up for this. You're making things worse. No, I said. She is. I'm cleaning up the mess. By dragging our family into court? She filed first, Connor. Silence. The day of the hearing, I wore the only suit I owned. Megan came with me. So did Grandma. Her lawyer was a sharp woman named Denise, with eyes like steel and a folder thicker than a phone book. Mom sat on the other side with her own attorney, and that smug, confident look she always wore when she thought she was 3 steps ahead. The judge was middle-aged, no nonsense, and clearly not in the mood for drama. Mom's lawyer went first. Claimed Grandma was exhibiting erratic behavior, that she'd changed her financial documents under pressure, that I was isolating her, possibly for financial gain. Then Denise got up. She brought out Grandma's medical records. Clean bill of health. Psychiatric evaluation, passed with flying colors. Then she presented a detailed financial record. Every withdrawal, every transaction, every forged login attempt. Then she pulled out a copy of the forged loan paperwork. Exhibit 14, she said. A pattern of financial manipulation against both her mother and her son. The courtroom was silent. Then the judge asked Grandma to speak. She stood up. No cane. No notes. Just presence. I'm 81 years old, she said. I've lived through wars, recessions, and raising 3 children on a teacher's salary. My mind is clear. My body aches sometimes, but I am not incompetent. What I am is done being used. The judge nodded slowly. After a short recess, she ruled, petition denied. Full rights retained. James to remain financial power of attorney. I didn't cheer. I didn't smile. I just exhaled. Mom didn't look at me. She gathered her things like nothing happened and left. Outside, Megan lit a cigarette with shaking hands. Well, she said, that was biblical. Grandma looked at me. I'm proud of you. And I didn't know what to say to that. Not really. So I just nodded. The war was over. Legally, anyway. But emotionally, the real wreckage was still coming. Because Mom wasn't just losing control of money. She was losing her grip on the story she built. And people were starting to ask questions. The cracks in Mom's story began to spread fast. It started small. A neighbor mentioned to Grandma that Mom had been talking about her condition at church. The woman smiled politely and asked, "Is it true you're going into assisted living?" Grandma just smiled back and said, "Only if I'm managing the place." Word got around. People started asking questions. Quietly, carefully, because everyone in town knew Lorraine Reeves. She was a pillar, a leader, the woman who organized fundraisers and spoke at school board meetings. But they also knew something else. She liked control. So when whispers started circulating about fraud, forged documents, and a failed court petition, curiosity turned into gossip. Then gossip into concern. Mom started losing allies. The pastor she'd confided in stopped returning her calls. Her best friend from the charity league needed space. Even Aunt Caroline, the one who always defended her, called me one night and said, "James, what the hell is going on over there? Your mom's acting like she's been betrayed by the whole family." I didn't answer. I just told her to call Grandma. Then came the letter. Certified mail. Sent directly to me. It was from Mom. Handwritten, 2 pages, signed in a flourish I recognized from birthday cards and report cards and notes she used to slip in my lunchbox when I was a kid. But this one wasn't loving. It was venom. She accused me of turning everyone against her. Of poisoning Megan. Of controlling Grandma. Of weaponizing family trauma. To make myself look like a hero. She said I was still the same needy little boy who wanted to be seen. That line hit me like a gut punch. Because it was true. I had wanted to be seen. My whole life. And now that people finally looked at me and saw someone who mattered, someone who had boundaries, someone who said no, she couldn't handle it. So she tried one last thing. Public shame. She posted on Facebook. A long, dramatic post about betrayal. About her ungrateful children and a mother's heartbreak. She didn't name names, but it didn't take a genius to know who she meant. The comments rolled in fast. Some supported her. Old church friends. PTA moms. People who only knew her surface. But others? Others asked hard questions. Didn't James pay your mortgage for years? Isn't Megan still recovering from a fake loan she got in his name? Why did the court deny your guardianship if Grandma's really unstable? And then, the final blow. Grandma replied. One sentence. Sometimes the hardest part of getting better is realizing who was keeping you sick. It went viral. Well, viral for our town. Screenshots. Shares. Whispers at the grocery store. Mom deleted the post 2 hours later. But the damage was done. Megan called me that night. She sounded different. Softer. "I think I want to go back to school," she said. "You serious?" "Yeah. Art therapy, maybe. Help kids. Do something that, I don't know, makes sense." "That's huge, Meg. You'll need a plan." She laughed. "Yeah, I figured you'd say that. Can I come over tomorrow? Talk it out?" "Of course." After I hung up, I sat in the quiet. Not just peaceful quiet, meaningful quiet. The kind that doesn't feel like waiting for the next storm. The kind that feels like healing. And that night, I realized something. This wasn't about revenge anymore. It was about rebuilding. But you can't rebuild until you burn the old thing down. And Mom had set the match herself. Megan came by the next morning, early. No makeup. Hoodie. Coffee in both hands. "Peace offering," she said, handing me one. And a humble heart. We sat on my porch, the sun just starting to creep over the trees. It was quiet. Almost too quiet, like the world was holding its breath, waiting to see if we'd screw this up again. "I don't know how to do this," she said. "The whole, functioning adult thing. You don't have to do it alone." She looked at me. That's the thing. I didn't even know I was alone until Mom stopped pretending. That hit harder than I expected. Because it was true. Mom had built a world where love was currency, and she was the only one printing it. We talked for hours. About art school. Therapy. The loan. She didn't try to excuse it. She owned it. That meant more than anything else. "I'm not asking you to fix it," she said. "I just want you to help me fix it. Like, together." So I helped her draft a budget, sent her some links for scholarship programs, promised to co-sign again, for real this time, but only after she took a financial literacy course. She didn't even flinch, just nodded. Fair. That night, I got a text from Connor. Can we talk? I stared at it for a while, then replied, tomorrow, noon. My place. He showed up right on time. I don't want money, he said before I could speak. Didn't think you did. I want answers. About what? He sat down hard, like the truth was too heavy to carry anymore. About who she is. Who we are. He told me everything. How Mom made him feel like the favorite, but always dangled it like a prize he could lose. How she guilted him into jobs, girlfriends, even career choices. How she called him the golden child, but never let him forget he had to earn it. I thought you were the lucky one, he said. You were the rock. The trusted one. I didn't see it was a trap. We were silent for a long time. Then I said, you want to make it right? Yeah, I really do. Then help Grandma. He nodded. No hesitation. So we made a plan. Connor started helping with errands, groceries, doctor visits. Megan took over organizing Grandma's art supplies and helped her digitize old family photos. I set up a shared calendar and brought over a new printer. It felt like we were finally learning how to be a family without her. But Mom wasn't gone. Not really. She called me one night. I didn't answer. Then she texted, you think you've won. But families don't work this way. You'll see. I didn't reply. Instead, I called Grandma. You okay? Peachy, she said. I made peach cobbler. You want some? I laughed. I'll be right over. Megan and Connor were already there. She handed me a plate before I could sit. Connor cracked open a soda. Grandma put on a record, Ella Fitzgerald. We sat, ate, talked. And for the first time, it didn't feel like something we had to survive. It felt like something we could build on. But deep down, I knew Mom wasn't done. Because people like her don't give up control. They wait. They adapt. And when they come back, they don't knock. It was a Tuesday morning when the envelope showed up. No return address. No postage stamp. Just a plain manila folder slipped under my door like a secret. I opened it cautiously, already expecting the worst. Inside were photocopies, dozens of them. Bank records. Tax filings. Old documents I hadn't seen in over a decade. Some were in my name. Some weren't. There were forged applications, loan requests, charity receipts with inflated figures, all tied to my mother. At the bottom was a single handwritten note. If I'm going down, I'm not going alone. I sat there for a long time, just breathing. She was trying to frame me, or at least muddy the water enough that if someone investigated her, I'd go down too. It was the ultimate play. Make the good son look complicit. Cast doubt on the narrative. Create confusion. I scanned every document, saved them to a secure drive, and called Denise, Grandma's lawyer. She told me what I already knew. This isn't just petty anymore. This is criminal. We filed a report. Quietly. Privately. But the stress started showing. Megan noticed first. You haven't been sleeping, she said. Hard to, when you're waiting for the next landmine. Connor offered to go through the rest of the paperwork with me. 2 sets of eyes. Plus, if she forged anything with my name on it, I want to know. We found more. Tiny things. Signatures that didn't match. Email addresses used for applications I never filled out. She'd been doing this for years. And I had let her. Not on purpose. Not knowingly. But I'd ignored the signs. Dismissed the red flags. Called it loyalty. Family. Love. Grandma came over that weekend. She brought her ledger, the one she'd used to track household expenses for 50 years. Inside were notations, receipts, handwritten notes tracking every withdrawal she'd ever made. She'd kept records. All of them. I always knew, she said quietly. Not everything, but enough. I just thought if I loved her hard enough, she'd stop. Megan sat beside her, held her hand. Neither of them cried. I did. The next day, we submitted everything to the authorities. Fraud. Forgery. Elder abuse. It wasn't revenge. It was survival. Mom was arrested the following week. Quietly. No handcuffs on the front lawn. No drama. She posted bail immediately, of course. And then she vanished. No calls. No texts. Just silence. It's been months now. Megan's back in school. Studying part-time, working part-time. She's thriving. Connor took a new job out of town, something on his own terms for once. He visits on weekends. Grandma? Still sharp. Still making cobbler. Still keeping the books. And me? I bought the old house. Not Mom's. Grandma's. She insisted I take it. It needs someone who knows what it's worth, she said. We remodeled the back room into a studio for Megan. Turned the shed into a home office for Connor when he visits. There's space, light, peace. People in town still ask about Mom. I just tell them the truth. We loved her. She made choices. And now we're living with them. But here's what I don't say. Sometimes, late at night, I still check the locks twice. Still scan the street before I go to bed. Because when someone builds their identity on control and loses it, they don't just disappear. They wait. And someday, she might come back. But next time, she'll find we're not the same family she walked away from. We're stronger now. Because we finally learned that love doesn't mean silence. It means truth. And this time, we're not giving it up for anyone. I didn't expect the letter. It came on a gray morning in early spring. I almost missed it. Just another envelope and a stack of bills and catalogs. No return address. But the handwriting? I recognized it instantly. My mother's. For a moment, I considered throwing it out. But something in me, that stubborn, curious part that still hoped people could change, made me open it. It wasn't long. Just one page. Neat. Precise. Like she'd written and rewritten it 100 times. James, I'm not asking for forgiveness. I know I don't deserve it. I've lost everything. Some of it unfairly. Most of it my own doing. I don't expect you to respond. But I need you to know, I see it now. What I did. What I became. I was never the mother you needed. But I did love you. In the only way I knew how. That doesn't excuse it. I just hope, one day, you'll believe it. Tell your grandmother thank you. Tell Megan I'm proud of her. Tell Connor, I'm sorry. Be well. Mom. I read it twice. Then again. I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I just sat there, letting the weight of it settle. It wasn't an apology. It was a reckoning. Later that night, I read it to Grandma. She listened, eyes closed, nodding slowly. Do you believe her? I asked. She was quiet for a long time. I believe people can regret. Doesn't mean they change. Megan wanted to read it too. She did, then folded it carefully and tucked it into a drawer. She can stay gone, she said. But maybe I needed to hear that. Connor didn't say much. Just shrugged and said, about time. The days moved on. Megan painted a new mural in the studio, bright oranges and deep blues. Connor started dating someone. Grandma taught a free budgeting class at the library. And me? I started writing again. Not just this story. Others. Real ones. Hard ones. About family. About silence. About what it means to finally, truly be seen. One night, I stood in the backyard, listening to the wind, the leaves, the quiet laughter from inside the house. And I realized, the story she tried to write, the one where I was just the help, the background, the burden, was over. I wasn't the glue holding together a lie anymore. I was the foundation of something new, something honest. And no matter what came next, if she returned, if she vanished forever, I'd face it with eyes open. Not for her, for me. Because for the first time in my life, I was living a story I chose. And that was enough. It's strange how silence can sound like closure. Weeks passed, then months. No calls, no letters, no drama, just space. Like the house, the family, the very air had exhaled after holding its breath for too long. Megan finished her first semester back in school. Straight A's. She hung her transcript on the fridge like a kid. We all clapped. Grandma cried. Connor introduced us to his girlfriend. Real, stable, kind. She asked thoughtful questions. She laughed at Grandma's jokes. I liked her immediately. I found myself smiling more. Sleeping better. Breathing easier. One afternoon, I drove out past the edge of town, to the place where Dad's old truck used to break down when I was a teenager. I parked, stepped out, and just stood there. No ghosts. No memories waiting to drag me back. Just me. And that's when I knew the story was really over. Not erased. Not forgotten. But complete. Because healing doesn't mean pretending it didn't happen. It means it doesn't control you anymore. Grandma asked me one day, would you ever want to see her again? I didn't answer right away. I walked to the sink, washed my hands, looked out the window. I don't know, I said. Maybe, but I don't need it anymore. And that was the truth. The boy who needed her approval, who begged to be seen, needed to feel like enough, he was gone. In his place was a man who built something real. A home, a family, A life where love wasn't conditional and silence wasn't survival. I visited Dad's grave that weekend. First time in years. I didn't bring flowers. Just stood there, hands in my pockets, and said, I get it now. I'm sorry it took me this long. Then I turned and left. Peacefully. Some stories end with answers. Mine ended with understanding. And that, finally, was the ending I needed. Not dramatic. Not loud. Just quiet. And true.